Hello everybody, Dokkan Assets here. Happy Dragon Ball Superhero release weekend everybody. And it just so happened that a figure that is sort of kind of connected to the movie, of course, with your boy Cell, arrived at my doorstep this week, and I have been waiting for this particular Cell figure. This guy is from the Versus Omnibus Super Kuji that we have been looking forward to for a little while now. I'm going to be getting this guy. Obviously, Trunks is coming too. Omega Shinron I'm also getting, so I am excited to take a look at this set. But of course, today we are starting out with the boy Cell. Now, I am actually really excited for this figure, not just because the original images that I saw of this guy actually looked pretty decent, right? There we go. Thank you, Focus. The actual funny thing about this guy is that this is actually my first Cell figure, Kuji or prize figure-wise. The only Cell figure that I have is a Figurized standard model kit that, funny enough, I found like at a thrift store that was already built and put together. So this is technically my first Cell figure, which is kind of interesting, honestly, that I did not have one until now. So I am pretty excited for this, honestly. I want to get all of the Dragon Ball villains. I think something that's severely underrepresented in my collection is absolutely all of the villains throughout Dragon Ball's history. Like, I don't even think I have, like, a proper Frieza figure? I mean, I have like a couple, but I don't know if I would have one that I'm like crazy about, right? So, I'm hoping that this particular Cell figure can be a figure that would just basically be like the main Cell in my collection. So, we're going to find out today. I do remember the pictures for this guy being pretty good. Obviously, it has been a little bit since this guy has dropped in Japan. But let's go ahead and get him out. He is in a clamshell. Very interesting. I assume that's because he's so tall. Obviously, this box is very big. Ooh, there we go. Oh, and his wings are a separate piece. Interesting. Is that going to stay? Wow, okay. I did not expect that to stand up. Interesting. All right, so let's go ahead and flip this bad boy over. Okay. I'm liking the look of this already. This is pretty sick. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at him. Let's go ahead and get him out of the clamshell here. We need to, that's right, the way they package these is that they have like tape on the edges of the clamshell. So you have to actually like basically cut around the clamp to be able to get him unboxed here. Here, I'll give you a little show, but it's going to fall probably. Okay, let me see. I don't want to cut towards myself, but I kind of have to. There we go. Okay. Actually, yeah, we'll just open it like that. I only cut one side like this, right? But we can just kind of open it like a treasure chest and then pull them out. All right. So let's get the wings out. Interesting that the wings aren't wrapped. They are quite literally just sitting in there. That's kind of interesting. I guess I'll place those down so then that way no damage goes on the outside, which would actually be what's displayed. Also a little bit weird, they're flat on the inside. You would think that they would be like, I guess maybe indented because that's how Cell's wings are, but kind of weird. Alright, so let's get the big boy out. I'm honestly, oh, jeez. I'm kind of surprised that he's all in one piece. That was the stand, by the way, that fell, thankfully. That's probably the thing that if something was going to fall, I would want that to fall the most. Did it crack? I think it just cracked. Unless it was like that before. Well, anyway, as you can see here, there's a crack on mine. I mean, it's not that big of a deal because it's on the stand and you're really not going to see that. But yeah, that may have just been me, though, dropping it like a dingus. And to be fair, it's only cracked on one side. I don't know if you can see in there, but it doesn't look cracked on the other side. Very interesting. All right, well, there's your nice clear stand. Again, can't really say if that crack was me or if that was the actual, figure itself. Is this just gonna, yeah, okay. Let's go ahead and bring him in a little bit closer to the camera here. And we will take the plastic off of the boy. Okay. Honestly, I think that looks pretty sick. So, first of all, they nailed these spots and everything like that, right? I think they got his physique pretty well. Let's actually pick him up. Let's see how he feels. I'm curious to see. Okay, so the black parts are indeed very slippery with this guy for sure. which I mean I guess makes sense because you would think that that would be the material that this guy would be made out of for those shiny bits, right? Like especially here, this is very slippery material, whereas this is a little bit more like grippy, I guess. But overall, I think he looks good. Unfortunately, I do see a couple of QC issues on mine on the shoulder right here. The little spot right there has a spot missing. There's a little scuff mark right there. There is also a spot missing on that spot. There's also a scuff mark on his arm there and on his arm there. There's a little scuff mark on his shoulder. Very unfortunate to see. But thankfully, I think his face looks okay. The camera apparently doesn't agree, but I think his face looks alright. It definitely isn't the worst looking figure face I've ever seen. I don't think it is... I don't know. There is something about it that does feel like a tiny bit off to me. Again, it's not by any means bad, and I don't think that it is... you know, it doesn't look like Cell, but I think there's just something that's slightly off about it. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Obviously, when it comes to figures, I'm always super nitpicky on that sort of thing. So that's just me. Wow. Okay, let's take a look at the back. So this is sculpted extremely well. The little sucky tail that he uses to absorb the androids there on the back. That looks pretty cool, if I do say so myself. I think that's sculpted very nicely. Also a different paint job than the rest of him, which makes it kind of stick out. Unfortunately, there is some scuff marks on there. You can see that there is a little bit of black, just little splotches on there. This also looks disgusting, but I guess fitting for Cell, and that is, of course, where the wings go. So let's go ahead and put that there. What foot does this go on? I legit cannot tell. Let's see. I don't want to ruin the... I don't want to... It has to go on the outside, right? Because there's no way that that blocky thing is fitting there. Oh, or maybe on the back is how it goes. Let me see. Yeah, it definitely feels like it fits a little bit better on this foot. Perfect. And that snaps right on there. Nice. Is he more stable? He's almost less stable, to be honest with you. He felt, because his feet aren't flat now on the ground. It's hard to tell because of the camera angle here. Let me pull the camera for you a little bit, right? You can see that he's a little bit wobbly like that, right? But then, if we take the stand off, we'll just push it off the back, right? Now he's flat-footed, right? Let me put the camera back for you. Now he's flat-footed, right? He doesn't, like, wobble, really. His legs are a little bit, like... not the sturdiest, I guess. I think that's just because they're so thin and the upper body is so wide. Kind of interesting, to be honest. But I guess I'll keep the stand on him. Yeah, that's really weird, honestly. I don't know why they would design it like that. All right. Let's go ahead and pluck the old wings on the boy. Or, I guess, pluck them off. Let's see. So these do have a small bit of a shape there. You can see that it is slanted on one side. It's kind of hard to tell, but there you go. You can see on the left side of this one it's slanted. So what that means is that we need to check out, I'm assuming that would be this one. That looks correct to me. It's not fitting in there though. Let me try the other one. No, that's got to be this one. That has to be. Oh. That is a bit of a tight fit. That is a really tight fit, actually. Oh, no, okay, hold on, never mind. I was thinking that was going to be a lot worse than I thought it was going to be. The one thing I will say, I'm kind of worried about this finger. Well, I mean, that is appropriate for what I'm about to say, is fingerprints. Because of this different material, I'm afraid that that's going to fingerprint really poorly. But I guess we'll see. Alright, so let's go ahead and stick the other one in. That was so weird. It was like, it didn't feel like it was going in, and then when I just, like, got it at exactly the right angle, it just went in super easily. Knowing Bandai's quality control, it also could be something of like, there we go. It is kind of hard to get them in because maybe they aren't like exactly the same on every single one, right? Compared to how they should be for fitting in the figure. Okay, there we go. So from the back profile shot, that looks really nice. You can see, funny enough, the lights in my room reflecting off of the wings. That looks super cool from the back. Let's give him a little turnaround. How does my man look from the front? Okay, that feels so much more complete. That definitely feels a lot more complete. Not that his body looks any different, I suppose, but he definitely feels a lot more like he should with the wings on. Absolutely. This figure looks so cool, dude. This is really, really nice. Okay, yeah, I think this might just be the staple Cell figure in my collection for sure. I think as well, interestingly enough, when we were looking at him initially, right, I feel like his bottom half looked super skinny, right? Especially with how thin his legs are compared to the upper body. But I feel like the black of the wings sort of like evens it out a little bit, I guess you would say. I think that it almost like makes it feel like that's not as much the case because there's all this black that you're looking at, so it kind of distracts your eyes from it. Very interesting phenomenon there. As well, I will say, I was kind of not really liking that the wings weren't indented like they should be, but it doesn't look too bad from this angle, and it is kind of hard to tell, especially with how far you are away. Like, if you are looking close, you can definitely tell that that's flat, right? And it's not like, you know, indented there. It's not hollow, basically. But honestly, I don't think it's too bad, right? Bandai's been cutting corners for a while now, so unfortunately it's something that you can kind of come to expect from them. But honestly, this is definitely not the worst thing, and I don't think the figure looks any worse because of it. Alright, let's go ahead and do some size comparisons. Now, obviously, with how big this guy is, I think it's no surprise to any of us viewers that, oh boy... He certainly towers over Blue Goku and Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks. Goku is almost as big as the stand for Cell alone, which is honestly pretty crazy. Let's go ahead and give this guy the quick measurement here. He looks to be about, oh boy, I would say on camera that looks to be about 13 inches. Honestly, yeah, I'd say that's about accurate, to be honest. I think 13 inches is just about it. Maybe a little bit under, but yeah, definitely around there. This guy is easy clearing the 1 foot tall mark. I think there is no question about that. All right, so I don't actually have a ton of Cell Saga figures to compare this guy to, unfortunately. However, before we do get to the two that I do want to compare this guy to, I wanted to sort of give you an idea again about how big this guy is, because of course this is a pretty big figure. As you saw on the box, the figure is a Masterlise Extra figure, right? Which means that it is super big, right? It's bigger than a normal Masterlise figure. So, I figured I would bring out one more Masterlise Extra figure for comparison, and since we are on the villain train today, and I suppose since Cooler's going to be here for Worldwide as well, we have the boy Cooler on the screen. His horns actually extend basically off of the screen. But this is to give you a good idea of the size of Cell. Obviously, both of these guys are huge. These are both giant figures. Funny enough, I think Cooler beats out Cell a little bit. But yeah, just to give you an idea and to have two Masterlise Extra figures next to each other, there is the boy Cooler. Now, of course, we have two characters that mainly fought Cell. Unfortunately, I do not have the original Grandista Goku, but I do have the base form version. I always wanted to get the Super Saiyan version, but unfortunately, your boy just kind of never got around to it. But a little piece of dust stuck on his hair. Sorry about that. This is the base form version of the Grandista Goku. Obviously, the Grandista line is a little bit smaller than the Masterlise line. And, well, I guess I should specify the Masterlise Extra line because, of course, the whole thing with the Masterlise Extra line is that the figures are supposed to be bigger. However, I gotta say, this is honestly a pretty decent comparison, and I feel like if I had the Super Saiyan 1, these two would actually look really, really good together. I think Goku is a little bit shorter than Cell, for sure. I don't think they match up that closely in height, but to be frank with you, this honestly isn't the worst comparison if you're trying to do some Cell Saga shenanigans, for sure. And of course, this being a Cell figure, you know I had to bring out a Gohan. And since we're taking a look at Grandista figures, of course, your boy had to bring out the Grandista Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. Now, I think Gohan might be a little bit taller in the actual comparison between these two height-wise. However, honestly, this isn't terrible. I mean, Cell is quite the monster, to be fair. He is very, very big. I do think that Goku definitely works a little bit more scale-wise than this guy does, but definitely still not a bad figure to scale for sure. And I can't really think of another figure off the top of my head that would scale better, because Grandista, I think in terms of like Super Saiyan 1 and 2 Gohan from the Cell Saga, would probably be the biggest figure that I could think of. I don't think there's a Masterlise one, unless you count the Dokkan Battle one, but that one's smaller than this one, funny enough. So I think this is honestly probably the best comparison that you're going to get. And these two do look really cool together. Obviously, I have a severe lack of Cell Saga representation, so seeing these two stand next to each other is honestly pretty cool. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. Any support for this channel is greatly appreciated. I'm glad that you guys have been enjoying the videos. As well, if you would like to support me a little bit more, you can do so over on the Patreon. The Patreon is completely dedicated to this channel, so if you want to help fund my figure addiction and maybe buff up my Cell Saga collection, you can do so over there. But of course, you watching the videos is what's most important to me. I am really happy to have this guy in my collection. If you would like to pick him up for yourself, you can do so at the link in the description. This is also one of the last Ichiban Kuji sets, or Ichiban Show for those of us here in the West, where it is actually going to be closer to the usual price of Ichiban Kuji figures. After the Dragon Ball Kuji, which I'm also going to be opening that soon, figure prices are about to shoot up through the roof for figures that would normally be like 36 bucks for a normal Kuji figure, and for Masterlise Extra more around the $50 mark. So kind of a shame that this is almost the end of an era, basically, but it is nice that at least for this particular set, people will be able to get it for a relatively decent price. So thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you think of this figure in the comment section below. Even though it does have a lot of QC issues, unfortunately, that is just what I've come to expect from Bandai at this point. It's like, okay, they're there. I just got to get over it, even though I'm paying quite a bit for the figure, you know. I suppose at this point, it's kind of an is what it is. Maybe I sound very defeated, and that's because I am. But despite the QC issues, I definitely think that this figure is worth your money and absolutely deserves a spot in your collection, especially with how, like, breathtaking he is, with how big he is. My gosh, I did not expect him to be so tall. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next one. Dokkan out. Peace.